Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste and good morning and welcome everybody to this edition of Ask Swami, where we have questions not only from all of you, but also from all around the world. We actually have a team which goes through hundreds of emails and questions and selects a representative assortment from them. And we try to discuss some of those questions. And of course, as I said, questions from the live audience here. So what do we have today, Diane?
The first question is from Ashutosh. Swamiji, I'm a beginner in Advaita Vedanta. My level of knowledge in this field is 0. I've only read Tattva Bodha a few times and Atma Bodha partially. Watched Dridrisha Viveka a couple of times and some of your videos.
So it's not 0 really, it's you have at least the elements of Advaita Vedanta are they're there with you.
I get the concept that there's nothing apart from Brahman. However, in all the videos, Swamiji, you keep saying to us that you are that consciousness and everything else, such as body and mind, is not you. But if Brahman is the only thing, every single thing, including mind and body, is also Brahman, isn't it? You explained that wave is essentially water, but some waves are bigger, some waves are smaller, and different waves are known by different names because their shape, form, and qualities are different. In the same way, aren't body, mind, and everything else, including thoughts, feelings, experiences, memories, intellect, and ego, just different types of waves having different qualities, shape, and form. And all of this is Brahman only. If this is the truth, then why, Swami, do you say that you are that consciousness and not other things like body and mind? Could you please help me understand this difference? A humble request while answering, could you please come down to my level, which is level 0, or underground level, so that I can get the answer?
Well, we can try. Yes. So the question is this. When we come to Advaita Vedanta, the basic teaching can be reduced to these 2 steps. First, we are told to appreciate or take a look and see that we are not literally these bodies or even the mind. And there are arguments, there are insights which show us actually through reason and experience that we are not literally identical to flesh and blood and bones, or that we are not literally identical to the fleeting thoughts and emotions and spikes of feelings, ups and downs. We are not those. So they come and go. And for multiple reasons, we cannot literally be those things. That's shown to us. Then what are we? We still do definitely exist. And it becomes clearer to us that we are consciousness or awareness. So you're not the body, not the mind. I mean, about the world, we are already quite clear that we are not. I'm not the table, I'm not the chair, I'm not even the clothes that I'm wearing. That is clear to all of us. It's with the body that the problem starts. So Vedanta starts with the body and then the mind and shows us that we cannot literally be the body or the mind. We are consciousness. And then next Vedanta says But this consciousness is not just a limited consciousness in one body-mind. In fact, bodies, minds, entire world, everything is this one consciousness. Brahman is everything. And you are Brahman. Now it seems to be, if you put these two statements together, that you are not everything, you are other than, you are separate from everything, you are the witness consciousness. Statement 1. Statement 2, you are everything. It seems contradictory. How can you be not body and mind and then in the next breath say that you are body, mind and everything else? Consider this example, that the example of the golden ornaments and gold. Suppose someone does not know what gold is. It's the same gold which is made into a bracelet and then melted and later maybe made into a necklace and later melted. The same gold is made into a tiara or crown or something like that. And now we want to say that, we want to show that the reality of all of these things is gold. The person doesn't understand what gold is. So first we must say that the reality here is not the bracelet. It's not really a necklace. It's not really a tiara. It is gold. It's something other than them. So notice the gold is the reality underlying all of these ornaments. A necklace is not a bracelet. They look different, they're used differently, the names are different. Necklace and bracelet are different from a tiara. But the substance, the reality, which appears as the necklace or the bracelet or the tiara is one and the same. In order to isolate that gold, that substance in our understanding, we are first told that it is not a necklace, gold is not the necklace, gold is not a tiara, gold is not a bracelet. It is the reality running in and through all of them. But after we have appreciated what gold is, after we get it, oh, this is what is meant by gold. Next, we immediately see that the tiara or the necklace or the bracelet are nothing other than that gold. They have no existence in the sense that they are just names and forms and different uses. They look different, but they are made of it's literally the same gold. It was melted and made into this ornament. It was melted again and made into another ornament. But it's literally the same substance. So these ornaments do not exist other than the gold. Then you can say that the gold is the necklace and the tiara and in fact all the golden ornaments. Exactly like that. 2 steps are taken. First, you're not the body, not the mind, you're pure consciousness. That has to be demonstrated. Why? If it is all one Brahman, why not go straight there? You cannot. We cannot. Because we don't understand ourselves as consciousness yet. We understand ourselves as body. I am Brahman, everything, the reality of everything. That will not be clear to me. If I think I am the body, clearly I'm different from every other body. This body is different from every other body. If I am a mind, a personality, clearly this personality is separate from each and every other personality. How can I be the one reality of all of these bodies, minds, personalities? Cannot be. Doesn't work. So first, I must analyze. What am I exactly? This body, this mind, a bundle of body-mind, or what else? And then we penetrate deeper and into our own experience of ourselves, guided by Vedanta. And we are shown by experience and reason why we cannot be the body literally. The body is there, but we are not literally the body. We are not literally the mind, thoughts, feelings, our own story. We are not that. We are the awareness, this consciousness, which is constantly there and which is experiencing all of these. Once we see that, the question arises. So now we have taken a step back into consciousness. I am awareness. I am consciousness. Notice, it's already impersonal. All the elements of our personality, that which separates us from others, are at the level of the body, are at the level of the mind, the memory, our personal story. All of those are now objects. I am the witness thereof. I am consciousness aware of them. They are objects, they are things. I am this consciousness. But this consciousness divorced from body-mind, from the specific conditions of the body-mind, it becomes impersonal. It becomes like a bare light, which must be then the same in all beings. This body clearly is different from the other body. It looks different. It has its own history. It is different location. But apart from the body, the awareness itself, is it different in all beings or is it the same? Now, it will be shown that it is this one consciousness. There are many arguments to show why consciousness cannot be many. It is one consciousness. One straightforward argument would be, bodies are many, clearly. Even our thoughts, feelings are many. If you talk to each other, you'll see our personalities are different. But apart from the body, apart from the mind, the consciousness itself, this light itself, this awareness itself, is it different? Suppose it's different. Suppose each body-mind has a separate, there's a separate body, there's a separate mind, and suppose there's a separate consciousness. Some philosophies say that, like Sankhya. In that case, you know what will happen? Just as those bodies, this body is also an object to me, the consciousness. Those bodies are also objects to me, the consciousness. Then that consciousness also will become an object. What is it to be an object? What is it for consciousness to be what is it for a body to be an object? What is it for an object to be an object? This table is an object. Very clear. I can see this is an object. This body is also an object. Very clear. I understand what it means for the body to be an object. Even thoughts are objects. My own thoughts are objects. I'm aware of them. If I were a telepath, I would be aware of your thoughts too. They would also be objects. But your consciousness, apart from body-mind, just this sense of direct first-person awareness, it is entirely non-objective. What would it be for another consciousness to be an object? We can't even imagine it. It's unimaginable. We can't wrap your mind around it. It's unthinkable, unimaginable. Consciousness, if we understand what consciousness is, if we really begin to appreciate, just intellectually appreciate it, you will see it cannot be an object. So, if there were a separate consciousness, it would be an object to my consciousness. There cannot be a consciousness which is an object. If it's not an object, then there cannot be a separate consciousness. What is the one consciousness you are sure of? Yourself. Yourself. And if there's no other consciousness which is an object, in that case, every other consciousness must be the same consciousness, this the pure subject itself. So there is one consciousness in all beings. Now arises the question, I am consciousness, and I'm conscious of the mind, of the body, of the world. What is the world? What is the body? What is the mind in relation to consciousness? Are they separate existence as they appear to be? Separately existing outside, beyond consciousness, and I come to be conscious of them? Duality? Object and subject, consciousness and matter, spirit and matter, two realities coming in contact. Drashta and drishya, seer and seen. What would be the relationship between them? Are they separate? If they're separate, they're coming in contact. If they do come in contact, what is the point of contact? Where the seer and the seen, the subject and the object, consciousness and matter, when they meet, is that point, they have to meet, otherwise, see, it's meeting right now. I'm aware of this object, it's meeting. The point of contact between consciousness and matter, subject and object, is that point of contact, is it subject or object? If it's an object, then when does that object meet the subject? If it's a subject, where does that subject meet the object? What is the point of contact between consciousness and matter? Is it consciousness or is it matter? There's no answer to it. Swami Brahmananda shows in one place, can you show me the line of demarcation between consciousness and matter, between spirit and matter? It's impossible to show you the line of demarcation. Why is it impossible? Then the implication is this. Really, there is no distinction between consciousness and object. Why is there no distinction between consciousness and object? Because in some way they are one. They are not separate. The idea that there is a separate consciousness and a separate object, it's intuitive, it feels like that. But notice, there is no way of experiencing an object without consciousness. You might say there's no way of experiencing consciousness without an object. No, there is. If you remove all objects, blank, deep sleep, samadhi, general anesthesia. Nothing to be conscious of. But there's consciousness. You might not think so, but Advaita Vedanta says that. There's consciousness, but there's nothing to be conscious of. Our way of understanding deep sleep or general anesthesia is there is no consciousness. Advaita Vedanta says there is consciousness, but nothing to be conscious about. All objects are blocked in some way. So consciousness is there, no object. The object always appears in consciousness. There is no line of demarcation between consciousness and object, because the object appears in consciousness, just as waves appear in water. This altar appears in wood. It's a strange way of speaking. We say this altar is there, it's made of wood, it's full of wood. Is it true? Is the altar like a container which has been filled up with wood? It is wood itself. And a name and a form have been imposed upon it. A name, form, and function have been imposed upon it. And we called it an altar. Similarly, a name, form, and function have been imposed on consciousness, and we call it an object. That is the amazing discovery of Advaita Vedanta. So the objects also are consciousness, appearing to consciousness as its own object. Consciousness appears to experience itself as its own object. There's a deep reason why this happens. It's the very nature of consciousness to experience. The very nature of consciousness to experience. That's what consciousness does. But if consciousness is the only reality, then there's nothing else to experience. So consciousness will experience itself as its own objects. That is what is called Maya. Consciousness experiences itself as if it's its own object. That's why you can never discover a point of contact between consciousness and object. If you start from consciousness, you will find the object becomes consciousness. If you start with the object, a materialist approach, you will never explain consciousness. You will end up with the hard problem of consciousness. You will end up in neuronal activities, and that's it. No consciousness anywhere. And yet, you cannot deny consciousness because we are all conscious. There are two ways only. Either you one monk posed this question, Advaitic problem solving. The question is this: what is the point of contact between drashta and drishya, seer and seeing, consciousness and matter? And the answer finally was, in Hindi, Bevkufi matra hai Mahatma ji. It is the only relationship, the only point of contact between consciousness and object, subject and object, is stupidity, foolishness, ignorance. So there can be no, that is the reason why we can't discover a point of contact, because the object is not separate from consciousness. It's like asking, what's the point of contact between the wood and the altar? Where does the altar contact the wood? The question doesn't make sense, because they are not two different things which have to come in contact. Similarly, where does consciousness, you are consciousness, remember, now you are consciousness. Step one has been accomplished. And you are aware of the world and the body and the mind and feelings, as he says. Where do they come in contact? You will find that you cannot find the point of contact. In fact, you are reduced to admitting that this objective world and body and mind and feelings and memories, they must be you, the consciousness. They are one with you. The seer is separate from the seen, but the seen are not separate from the seer. Drashta, you, the consciousness, you are distinct from what you experience, but what you experience is not distinct from you. The wood is distinct from the table, from the altar, because it was wood earlier. It is wood now. It will continue to be wood afterwards. But right now, it has the form of an altar. The altar is not distinct from the wood. It can't exist without the wood. There are only two ways. One is, because you cannot distinguish, cannot find out the point of meeting between consciousness and object. One is to say that the objects are nothing but consciousness. To plunge, to dissolve the object in consciousness. The other way is to dissolve consciousness in the object. If you dissolve consciousness in the object, say that the consciousness arises from the object. Consciousness is also object. Consciousness is also matter. That is the materialist way. And there you run up against the hard problem of consciousness. You can't explain how. Whereas this approach, the Advaitic approach, where you say object is also, it has to be consciousness only. There, consciousness does not have to be explained because you are starting with consciousness. And matter is taken as an appearance in consciousness. Consciousness appearing to itself as matter. At least in principle, the problem is solved. There's no hard problem of consciousness. And matter has an explanation that it's a superimposition, it's an appearance in consciousness, and it has the further advantage of being utterly faithful to your experience. So that is the answer there. Why are we told that we are consciousness, not body, mind? And then next we are told we are Brahman, which is body, mind, world. Is it like this?
Pranam Swamiji. So you explained that consciousness, the nature of consciousness is to experience. Then does that explain creation?
Yes.
Because without creation, you can't experience anything.
Yes, that is the deep explanation of creation. Explanation in a philosophical sense. Yes. Not in a cosmological sense, in a philosophical sense. Why does anything appear at all? Why is there any creation at all? It is consciousness experiencing itself. Consciousness was, the Upanishads say, at the beginning, consciousness was by itself. There was no, it had no fun at all. That's literally what it says. It was depressed. It's sort of poetic way of putting it. So it said, I am one, I shall be many. But how can consciousness be many? First of all, consciousness does not change. Consciousness cannot split. There is no cause and effect in consciousness. So consciousness can do only one thing. It can appear to itself. It can experience. So it experienced itself as the object. And that is creation in Advaita Vedanta. Can we have one more question and then go ahead?
This question is from Preeta Chatterjee. I have a humble question regarding one of your examples about the dark room. You mentioned that to see a book in a dark room, we require a light source. But to know our own presence, we do not need any light to confirm it. My confusion is this. When we feel our presence, isn't that awareness still connected with the presence of the body and mind that we are experiencing? In other words, how do we distinguish the pure self from the awareness that seems to arise through body and mind? I would be deeply grateful if you could kindly guide me on how one can realize the ultimate Brahman directly, rather than experiencing it only as reflected consciousness through the mind.
All right, good question. The answers are two answers. One subtle and one very broad. The two answers in two Sanskrit words. One is Swaprakasha, self-luminosity. The other one is Brahman. Advaita, everything comes down to Brahman. The ultimate reality, Brahman. So two answers. Let's go a little bit deep into that. What is this question? The question says that the Advaitic idea of light is that which illumines something. In Advaita Vedanta, when you say light, it means that which reveals something which was already, was covered, which was in darkness, which was unknown. Something unknown, it is revealed by light. So the example which was given in this question, in a dark room, there's a book. To see the book, you need a light. You have to switch on the light. So that's why it's called a light, because it revealed the book which was hidden in darkness. But just in the same way, our eyes are also lights. Because if I open my eyes, the world is revealed to me. I can see. Our ears are also lights in that sense, quote unquote lights, because they reveal a world of sound and speech and music. Our smell, nose, tongue, touch, these all the senses, indriya, senses are also lights because they reveal a world. Each reveals a world. Our speech is also light. By speech, everything is revealed. All knowledge. Today, AIs, their light is speech only. What do they have? They have the entirety of human experience. Whatever people have seen, heard, smelt, tasted, touched, whatever we have spoken about, written about, thought about, understood, composed, all of that, whatever has been encoded in speech, more of that, whatever has been uploaded onto the net, that the AI has access to. So the light of, for us, we have multiple lights. We have senses, we have language. AI has only one light, language. So the language is a light. Our thoughts are lights. Intellect is a light. By thinking something we don't understand, we think deeply about it, and you have a moment, a eureka moment of, I get it. I've made a breakthrough. Now I've understood. The light of intellect has shone upon that object. So these are all lights. Senses are lights. Language is a light. Thinking or intellect is a light. These are lights. But the light of all lights is consciousness. It is consciousness to which all of these lights report finally. They all borrow their light from consciousness. Awareness or consciousness shining, then all of them shine. By the light of consciousness, everything here is lit up. The beautiful mantras from the Upanishads, Kathopanishad, Mundukopanishad, Shvetashvatar Upanishad. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. That alone shining, everything else here shines. Consciousness alone shining, everything else shines after it. Everything else, mind, intellect, senses, language, AI, all of them, this light, all of them, they shine after, in the sense, lit up by. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. By the light of that, of light of consciousness, everything here is lit up. That means this experience which we are having of the universe, it's basically the light of consciousness. Yes, the light of consciousness is borrowed by the mind, then the mind feels lit up. That is borrowed by the senses, then the senses feel lit up. They're having experiences. Borrowed by speech, or by the external world, or by external lights, or by AI, or whatever. It's all powered by consciousness. And that shining, everything here shines. So, to answer that question, first answer. Eliminate everything. When I'm not seeing anything, I'm not hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, I still am. It's like this. And the question that was asked is, in a dark room, yes, I'm aware of myself without the light. I can't be aware of a book without switching on the light, but I exist, I'm aware without the light. But then that is because of my bodily awareness. I feel my existence. I'm thinking, my mental awareness. But without all that, can I directly not experience myself as pure consciousness? That was the question. Here is the way. The Advaitic way. There are other ways also. This is an Advaitic way. The Advaitic way is this. It works like this. I'm aware now. With my eyes open, I'm clear. I can see all of you. I'm aware. I exist and I am experiencing the world. Now, when I close my eyes, I am no longer sure whether you're all there, whether you have left or not. I close my eyes. I remember long ago in a school, in one of our ashrams, there's a naughty little boy. And there's the Swami in charge of the school. It's a very strict old Swami. And he wanted to scold that little boy. So the boy was standing in front of the Swami. And the Swami had a habit of scolding with his eyes closed. He will bring up all your past sins and start from there. And it's a long, like a judge reading out the sentence. So he goes on. At some point, the boy got bored and left. He just walked out. And the Swami went on and on and on. When he finally opened the boy, wasn't there at all. But the Swami was quite aware, I would say. I dare say he was aware of his own existence. Only that whether the boy exists in front or not, that is doubtful with the eyes closed. But I exist even when our eyes are closed. I have no doubt about it. If my ears are plugged, I don't hear anything. I still exist. If I don't see, hear, smell, taste, touch, I still exist as this conscious being. It's just that I'm not able to see or hear now. If I stop thinking, do I still exist or not? Yes. If I stop remembering, do I still exist or not? Are we our memories or more than our memories? We are not our memories. A gentleman this was in Switzerland, he told me he takes care of, they volunteer to take care of elderly people. So, Alzheimer's patient, he takes care of the Alzheimer's patient. And he says, it's very clear, Swami. They have lost all their memories, but they're clearly there. It's there. Absolutely, it's a conscious being. Just that the memories come and go. So even if my memories disappear, I don't even remember my own name, I'm still very much there, this conscious being. So without bodily sense, without sensory abilities, without memory, the subtle inner workings of the mind, without cognitive capacity, suppose my cognitive capacity is declined, I can't understand anymore. So I'm unable to function, I'm unable to understand, maybe unable to speak, articulate also. I am very much there. One might say that's a miserable existence. Might be. It's a very diminished existence. Not really. If you are consciousness, you're just as much consciousness then as you are now. It is just that some of the apps have stopped working. Your consciousness. We think it's diminished because we think we are body, we are brain, we are sensory capacities, we are memory, and when those fail, we feel we have diminished, we are less. No, but in this point of view, you are your consciousness itself. So you are still there. So this is the first answer. How is that possible? How is it possible to know? Because consciousness is self-luminous. It's self-revealing. It is self-revealing. There are two subtle senses in which I'm giving this answer. This is all number one, Swaprakash, I'm saying. The question is asked in a way as if it is somehow a fault, a weakness, a kind of lacuna to depend on our bodily awareness and a sensory awareness for our own existence. But remember, in Advaita Vedanta, body, mind, senses are nothing other than awareness, other than Brahman only. Brahman is not dependent on something else for its own recognition of its own existence. It's not like Sankhya. Sankhya, there is consciousness and material existence. And the two together come together for this experience we are having. But in Advaita Vedanta, that which gives us experience, consciousness plus object. Remember, the object itself is an emanation of consciousness. Brahman or Atman is not depending on anything outside itself for experience. So even when you are experiencing through the body, through the mind, it is because of the Atman alone. That's one answer. More subtle. For this I am borrowing on. There was one great Advaitin in the 20th century, Atmananda Krishna Menon in Kerala, 1950s, 60s. He says in one of his, he has a couple of small works, those who think that our awareness of ourselves depends on an experience of object, they do not understand self-luminosity. In a very subtle sense, self-luminosity does not depend, consciousness does not depend on an object for its appreciation of itself. Does it objectify itself? No. It doesn't objectify itself. It's not self-reflexive. It's self-luminous. There's a difference between self-reflexive and self. It's a very, very subtle point. But it is appreciable. If once it's pointed out, one begins to see what is meant. Sri Ramakrishna called it Bodhe Bodhkara. Awareness of awareness, or awareness in awareness. Not objectifying itself, by its very self-luminous nature, you are aware that you exist. It's not depending on body-mind. So twofold answer. This is the first broad answer, Swaprakash, self-luminous. In that there's twofold. One is, depending on our body-mind awareness to appreciate our own existence as consciousness is not a problem. Its question is set up as if it's a problem. It's not a problem in Advaita. It's not that consciousness depends on something else. It's depending on itself only. It's one mode of becoming aware of itself. In our experience of our own face in the mirror, you see your face in the mirror. Now one might say, well, without the mirror, you can't see your own face. Right. So that's the Sankhyan approach. Mirror is provided by Prakriti and you see yourself in the mirror. However, suppose you saw yourself in the mirror. I see my face. And of course, I cannot see my face without the mirror. And the mirror is not me. It's separate from me. And then you wake up. You wake up. You saw it was a dream. The mirror you saw in the dream, is it other than you? No. Even the mirror in which you saw your own face, that mirror is also projected by you in the dream. Advaita says it's something like that is happening here. That's one answer. The second answer is, you don't even need the mirror. Don't we have an intuitive sense of our own face right now without a mirror? Without a mirror. Do we become very anxious when the mirror is removed? Is it there or not my face? Do we anxiously run back to the mirror? Do we have a comfort mirror with us once in a while? Some people do. Some people do. Nowadays you have mobile phone, you can look at your face in the mirror. No. We have an intuitive sense of the existence of our face. It's like a tactile sense. Our face is there. We know. But it's almost like that. Consciousness has this self-intuition of its own existence. There's no language fails. It can't be pointed. It's extremely subtle there. So that's one answer. Swaprakasha. The second answer I gave was Brahman. Look, the question was, can I appreciate my own existence as consciousness divorced from, without body, without mind, just directly as pure consciousness? The answer is, you are. Why do you think you are experiencing anything else? It's like asking, when someone looks at the golden image of Shiva, of a god, or the golden image of a demon, or the golden image of a human being or an animal, and somebody asks, can't I just experience gold? Why does this god or the demon or the animal come in between? You are experiencing gold. It's a material, whether it's in the form of a god or a demon or a human being or an animal. You're literally experiencing gold. You're seeing gold. You're touching gold when you touch it. This idea that I have to somehow melt it into a lump of gold, then it's really gold. Otherwise, it's not gold. And that is wrong. And that is delusion. So there are two answers, two words. All of this to explain. Direct experience of Brahman. Can I not experience it without body, mind? The two answers. Swaprakasha, self-luminosity. Understand that carefully. That too in two ways. One, you reflecting yourself through body, mind. Second is directly. Self-luminosity is its own proof. The second answer is Brahman. We are all the time experiencing Brahman directly. This idea that the names and forms somehow constitute a barrier, this barrier is only ignorance. We think this is the world. Whenever you say this is names and forms only, we say yes, this is names and forms. Somehow I have to directly go beyond the names and forms, penetrate through. It's like looking at the wave and saying this reality is water. It's deep reality is water. Oh, deep reality. Then I have to jump into the wave, go deep into the wave, then I'll find water. No, you can find it on the top. Yes.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Jyotika. I have a follow-up question on the follow-up. So, the two steps that you laid out, one which you beautifully explained can be experienced through the first step, that, one is pure consciousness and one can directly experience it through meditation. And it can also be understood by logic, which you also beautifully explained. The second step, to me, it feels like that while it can also be understood by logic, to me at least, it feels harder to directly experience, where everybody else is also the same pure consciousness. That seems, either I have to understand by reminding myself of the logic, or, sometimes even just taking a leap of faith. How can one experience that directly as well? Does one have to wait for the moment of enlightenment? Is that what enlightenment is?
Yes. First step and second step. The first step is to experience yourself as pure consciousness. Second step is to experience yourself as everything is nothing but this pure consciousness. It's like the first step is the ornaments experience themselves as gold. And then as gold, it experiences itself as all ornaments. They are all nothing but me, whatever ornament. What's the difference between this and the previous state? The previous state, the ornament thought, I'm a necklace. And if it's melted and made into a bracelet, it'll think I'm dead. I'm gone. Because I'm no longer a necklace. But if it thinks it's gold, if it sees itself as gold, I was in the name and form of a necklace, now I am in a bracelet. But I am the same thing, literally the same reality. So the underlying reality has been discovered. As you said, you use two words, meditation and logic. And there are these two ways of discovering that you are pure consciousness. I know your question is later on, but let me just point this out. I did not say you'll discover it by meditation. You can actually. I just hinted that there are different ways of experiencing this. One is the way which I pointed out, which is the way of, you're calling it logic, we call it inquiry, vichara. Vichara, inquiry. Inquiry into what? Inquiry into our already present experience. Already present experience. We are taken step by step to show that we are not the body-mind, we are the experiencing consciousness. So this is called vichara, inquiry. But this, as you said, it can also be experienced by, it can be realized by meditation. For those who will feel this inquiry thing, business is a little theoretical. It is academic, it's theoretical. It's like the lecture of a Pandit. But I'm still the same. I didn't experience anything different. For them, a course in meditation might be very useful. When we settle down the movements of the mind, the moment the movements of the mind are settled down and sit in deep meditation, the world is not experienced anymore. We do not see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Thoughts do not arise. Memories do not arise. Desires, impulses do not arise. Even the sense, in deep meditation, the sense of ego is dissolved. Then what remains? Afterwards, when the mind starts functioning again, you will realize, I was there. When the world was not, when the body was not, when the mind was not, when the personality was not, I was still there. And there's no doubt I was there only as awareness. I was not there as a body, as a skeleton with flesh and blood. I was not experiencing myself with thoughts and ideas and memories and personality. So this is called yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the stilling, the nirodha of the movements of the mind. Chitta vritti. This is one way. But both will reveal to you that you are awareness. Our essential nature is awareness. I am awareness. I am consciousness. But this consciousness is everything, or everything is nothing but consciousness. This is not clear. So this will be, this is the next step in Vedanta. The first step is called Atma Anatma Vichara, the inquiry into self and not self. When I realize the self is pure consciousness, then I ask, what is the not self? Now you see, this next part is harder. It's harder because it's not very difficult to see ourselves as awareness or consciousness. And the reason it's not difficult is that's the basic default mode of our experiencing. All of us are experiencing the universe choicelessly as subject-object. And to say the essence of the subject is awareness or consciousness is not a big step. We can grasp it pretty fast. But to say that the object is also you, the consciousness, that seems counterintuitive. We have such a huge difference between ourselves and the object. The reason being, we have strongly grounded ourselves in one object, body. The moment I'm grounded as a body, then all objects become different from me. They become external to me. What becomes, if you say it's all in me, well, as a body, what is in me? Organs, tissues, blood, flesh, bones. Maybe in some sense, thoughts, feelings, emotions. But certainly not the universe. The universe is exterior to me. That's because of strong body sense. This I, the awareness, am everything. It does not come easily to us. That's why Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna asked this very question in the beginning of the 12th chapter. Which is easier? You've talked about devotion to God. You've talked about realizing yourself as everything. Consciousness is everything. Which is easier? And Krishna says, the path of devotion is easier. Why is it easier? Krishna explains. He says, Avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhirabhapyate. The way of the unmanifest, non-objective, pure subject, unmanifest. It's not manifest as any object at all. That is extremely difficult for the embodied. Now, embodied, we are all embodied. What does he mean by embodied? Those who identify themselves with the body. Strongly rooted in the body, in that case, it's very difficult to take that second step. But one way we can at least appreciate it, if not realize it, but at least appreciate what's it like, is to strongly visualize yourself as awareness. The whole world is appearing to me. I am awareness. I am not a body with awareness. I am awareness with a body, an awareness with thoughts, an awareness experiencing a world. I am awareness. The world, body, thoughts, they all appear to me. They all appear in me, and they are nothing but me. If I can take these 3 steps, the whole world is appearing to me, consciousness, including body and mind, appearing to me. This is not difficult to understand. Each of us, we can sort of say, yep, that's right. Second, appearing in me. Think through it. Assignment. Appearing in me. Counter question. This world is, I am awareness. The world is outside me. Is there any such experience? Do you understand the question? This altar is outside me, the body. This is very clear. My body ends here. Whatever is beyond this is outside my body. But as awareness, I'm aware of the body. Where? In awareness. I'm aware of my thoughts. Where? In awareness. I have no experience that the thoughts are outside, and I as awareness have to go there and experience it, or they will come from outside and enter me and then I will experience it. There's no such experience at all. My direct experience is the objects in awareness arise in awareness. That's my direct experience. So take that seriously, Advaita says. The external world is not external only with respect to the body. The idea of external and internal with respect to experience is only because of the body. If I ground myself in awareness, I'll find everything arises in me. In one sense, everything is internal to me. All experience must be internal to consciousness. True or not? Internal, external, like that, say like a cookie. I have a clear idea the cookie is external. Then I put it in my mouth. Now I have the clear idea that the cookie is now internal. That's with respect to the body. But with respect to consciousness, can we ever do that? Here is a thought. Here is a pain, a pleasure, a joy, an idea. It was existing externally. Now I pulled it into my consciousness. Is it possible? If you ever experience it existing outside your consciousness, it's already inside your consciousness. But even this is not final. The world of objects is internal to consciousness. Then you look a little further. Internal, there is consciousness like a container where you can put things inside it. What is there in consciousness? Only consciousness. There can't be. What is there in the wave, in water? The wave is in water. Are there 2 things? There is water, and in that a wave has been kept carefully? No. It's just water through and through. So it's just consciousness through and through. Then the world is an appearance in consciousness. You think in this way, you'll begin to see what is meant by I, the consciousness, am everything. The sense of being limited. Even when I root myself as consciousness, it still remains as a limited consciousness, as an individual consciousness, as a consciousness behind this one body mind. This is a Sankhyan approach. Note that conscious experience is one and universal. The problem is also partially due to Advaita Vedanta. It's set up by the initial sharp bifurcation between object and subject, seer and seen, self and not self. That comes back to haunt us, to bite us that the final oneness is not clear anymore. Our initial separation, it creates an object because we have understood it so clearly, then it becomes a barrier to seeing the oneness. The way to dissolve that was done in order to see ourselves as consciousness, but not because the objects are actually different from consciousness. Think about it this way. The seer is different from the seen, but the seen are not different from the seer. You, the drashta, the seer, you are distinct from anything that you experience. That is true. But what you experience is not distinct from you. They are you. We'll come to you. One more question. We'll come to you next.
This is from Raj Patil. I'm a beginner in studying Advaita Vedanta, so some of these questions might sound silly, but I'm genuinely curious.
We are very highly qualified beginners today.
If I am consciousness and just an observer with no real involvement in what the body does, then why experience life at all? I am simply witnessing what the body goes through. I find it hard to understand the idea of just experiencing things, whether it is grief, sadness, or joy. They all pass, and consciousness just takes note of it. Fine. It is also said that one should not get attached to anything because the world is Maya. But as consciousness, what is the point of experiencing anything then? The joy is not mine, the peace is not mine, and neither is the grief. Does it not become pointless just to exist like that? And if the body chose not to exist as in death, what difference would it make? Even death would just be another thing observed by consciousness. What I'm asking is not really about the purpose of life, but about the purpose of the experience itself. If one is not supposed to attach meaning to anything, then why all this? How are we supposed to relate to them? If there is nothing to truly be happy about and nothing to truly be sad about, then what is the experience of life supposed to be like?
Good question. Certainly not a beginner. Somebody has thought about it. Yeah. Let's go to the root of this question. What's the point of it all? I'm experiencing life, pains and pleasures and joys and education and art and music and relationships, the life of the body, growing, aging, eventually death. What's the point of it all? If it's all passing, it's all Maya, it seems kind of pointless. And none of it remains with me anyway. I'm just awareness illumining all of it. Look at the root of the question. Somehow the point of it all has to be outside me. That is never examined. In which direction are we looking for the point of life, for the value of life, for the point of experience? In the experience, he says, it's not a question about the point of life. It's a question about the point of experience itself. Same thing. Point of life, the value of life, is it in the objects, in the things which we experience, or in the experiencer of life, in the liver of life? Or if the question is about the point of experience itself. Experience has two sides. Consciousness and object. Is the point of experience in the object or in the consciousness? The question seems to assume without question that the point is always out there. And now your Advaita is showing me there's no point there. Advaita is showing us a hard truth, which we will come to ourselves anyway. Our lived experience through many lifetimes shows that there is nothing lasting, deep, profound in our experiences in the object, in the world. And here is a subtle advanced Vedantic thinking. We have sabotaged ourselves. The moment we flow out into the world in search of fulfillment, we are admitting to ourselves there's no fulfillment within. I go out looking for beauty because I find no beauty within. Through my eyes, I flow out looking for beauty. I find no beauty within. That's why. If I was spellbound in the beauty of the Ishta Devata within, Rama, we're thinking of Rama. The devotee of Rama is absorbed in what extraordinary beauty within. No need to flow out. That person would be fine to be blind also. I don't have anything worthwhile to see. We flow out through the ears to look for music because we don't see any music inside. The moment I say, I have to find extraordinary music outside, and that's the only place I can find it, it means it's not there inside. Or smell, or taste, or touch, or understanding the mysteries of the universe and explanation. Everything is outside, outside, outside. And the moment we do that, the subtle point here is this. Not whether it's there outside or not, that we'll see later. But the subtle point is this, how we have self-sabotaged ourselves. Every such effort drives home indirectly that the solution is not within. What we are looking for is not within. Every external search is telling us that. We are implicitly telling ourselves the solution is not within us. And then what happens? Then we look outside and we look and we look and look. We taste the world again and again and again till today no fulfillment. Now, I want to feel fulfilled. Where? Within. And I've already told myself implicitly there's no fulfillment within. I'm trying to get it from outside, going around with a begging bowl. The world, the poor world cannot do it. You're imposing an intolerable burden on the world, on sights and smells and touch and on people, on education, on life itself, an intolerable burden that it has to give you unlimited satisfaction and fulfillment. It cannot. It's not designed that way. This is a subtle point. And Vedanta tells you you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking in the wrong place. This fulfillment you're looking for, the point of life. What is the point of life? Ananda, bliss. So yes, but there's nothing outside. You're saying it's all fleeting. Even if it's there, it's a shadow. Yes, but your very nature is Ananda. You're looking in the wrong place. You, the seer, you, the looker, you're looking for yourself. But you're not looking at yourself. You're looking elsewhere, expecting to find yourself there. You're looking for Ananda outside, whereas you are Ananda itself. And you will say, but prove it. That's the whole other subject, Vedantic theory of bliss, Ananda. In Taittiriya Upanishad, many Upanishads, it's shown how Brahman, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which we are studying in the Upanishad class, it shows us that the self is the locus of bliss. All our search for bliss doubles back on itself and points back towards the self. But we don't know the self itself as bliss. Ananda is the point. Direct answer to your question. Ananda, bliss is the point. In one sense, we all know that. That's what we are looking for. What kind of Ananda? The Ananda that is endless. The Ananda that is effortlessly available. The Ananda that is instantly available. The Ananda that is unmixed and never disappoints. The Ananda that is universal. Always available, everywhere available, and available in all things with eyes closed and eyes open. You want that? Yes, I want that. Yeah. That's you. You're just playing with words. No, that's because we have tricked ourselves into throwing a bit of that Ananda outside and trying to recover it from outside then. That's what we're trying to do. The proof of all this is in the lives of the spiritual masters. Not all spiritual, not just Advaitic spiritual masters. Every spiritual master. What proof? Everyone you consider to be a saint in any religion, any time in history. You notice one thing common to them. In any religious tradition, devotional, yogic, non-dualist, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Taoist, whoever it is, Buddhist, one thing you'll notice is common to all of them. One thing, very clearly, immediately obvious. None of them grumbles. You'll never meet a grumbling saint. They may have all other kinds of foibles. They never grumble. They are very deeply full. That's what attracts us to them. Someone said, described Sri Ramakrishna. He said, one thing was he was the most joyous person we ever met. One person describes. It's like he was burst. It's literally, it's like a ripe pomegranate about to burst. It's like the joy was bursting out of him. Sri Ramakrishna tries to describe the bliss. Of course, he's describing the bliss of samadhi. There he says, it's like every hair is thrilled with delight. Romkup means the root of every hair. It's like it's bursting with delight. What would it be like? And continuously so. You say, I would die, or probably we would. Yes, that's the point. Can we take one more question?
Oh,
yes, and then I'll come to you next.
This is from Raghu. Why is there a clear difference between what Sri Ramakrishna says and what Swami Vivekananda and the disciples have put in place with the missions and mats? In the Gospel, October 27, 1882, on the boat, Sri Ramakrishna refers to his advice to Shambhu Malik regarding excessive indulgence in charitable works. And yet Swamiji advocates for karma yoga and the establishment of schools, hospitals, clinics, etc. Is that not going against the advice and wishes of Sri Ramakrishna? Can the words of an avatar be taken so lightly?
No, they cannot be taken lightly. But they have been taken very seriously, and none more seriously than Swami Vivekananda himself. That's not to put down the question, because people had these doubts. And directly after Sri Ramakrishna, even someone like Swami Yogananda, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, someone like M, the writer of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Why all these schools and hospitals and service? Monks are meant to, they meditate and do Vedanta, do Ask Swami, but that's it. No more than this. You should wander on the face of the earth and teach people and keep and immerse your mind in meditation or at best Vedantic studies. That's it. Why a school or a college or a hospital? There's a funny story about Srimad Swami Smarananandaji Maharaj, who was our president. Before the present president, many years ago, when he was a much younger monk, he was going in a train, and he narrated this story humorously many times. So in a train in India, and a rustic sort of guy, like a farmer, asks him, a typical thing they will ask, especially in North India, I think. If you see a monk, they'll ask you if you can read their hand, like palmistry, tell their fortune. So monk is something like that, who can tell your fortune or suggest an herb for curing a disease, things like that. That's what a monk can do for you. So can you? And he said, no, I can't tell your fortune. I don't know how to read your hand. And then the farmer was taken aback. He said, Kaisa Mahatma hai? What kind of monk are you? What do you do? And poor Swami Smaranandaji, he was a very humble man. He said, well, we have a school, we run a school. And then it was utterly disgusted. The farmer said, Sakul chalata hai, kaisa Mahatma hai? This is a very rustic way of speaking in Bihar and UP. School, instead of saying school, they will say Sakul. Run a school, what kind of a monk are you? So that is what people, this is the same question. Why are you doing humanitarian work? Why non-profits? In India, they're called NGOs, non-government organizations. So why that? Why not meditate and study and devotional practice? Yeah, you can have a temple at most. So, have you taken the words of the Avatar lightly? Because the Avatar told Shambhu Malik, if you are in presence of God, will you ask for a school or a hospital, or will you ask for devotion and knowledge and enlightenment? But the same Sri Ramakrishna said, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. And Swami Vivekananda took those words to heart, and he said that if one day a chance comes, I will demonstrate to the world the tremendous depth of this formula which has been given by Sri Ramakrishna. The worship of Shiva, of God, in all sentient beings. Vivekananda then expounded this further. He said, my God the hungry, my God the sick, my God the poor, my God the wicked, ignorant, my God the wicked, he says. These and others are the special object, the object of my special worship. No, the special object of my worship. What is he saying? Worship of the divinity in human form, in sentient beings, and especially where it is needed. It's not always needed. He did not say, millionaires and billionaires, the object of my special worship. They don't need your special worship. But the sick do. The hungry do. The suffering do. And if you can help them, can it be spiritual practice and not social work? It's something much more than social work. You can spiritualize it. How can you spiritualize? Based on Advaita. What we are studying here, the same consciousness shines in them. The same divinity is present in that form. How will you approach that divinity? You can sit and analyze here for all till the cows come home, and not the body, not the mind, pure consciousness. But the pure consciousness is right in front of you and is hungry, experiencing hunger. Then the response should be, here I am, the pure consciousness. When it's hungry, I put food in the mouth. If I am the same pure consciousness there and it's hungry, why should I not put food in that mouth also? Now, modern ethics is coming to this conclusion. There was one Oxford philosopher, Derek Parfit, probably the greatest philosopher of our time. He passed away a few years ago. Parfit. Where the conclusion basically came to is that altruism has no limit. How much can you give for others? We don't be reasonable. He says, no. If you're reasonable, you have to give everything for others beyond your basic survival. If there's another person who needs it, hungry, sick, uneducated, and you have the extra resources to give him, which will reduce you back to your basics. Reason says you should do that. He says he shows by reason. So that is being reasonable. And the not being reasonable is selfishness. It's an uncomfortable conclusion. So this is Shivajnana Jiva Seva, to serve all sentient beings with the knowledge that they are the divine. Swami Premeshanji writes, what is this doctrine of Karma Yoga Vivekananda taught? Very inspiring. He says, first of all, through Advaitic analysis, be absolutely clear that Jiva is Shiva. The God you are worshipping in the Shiva temple, in the Shiva Linga, the God you are meditating upon when you chant the Shiva Mahimna Stotra, the God you meditate upon as the deity in your heart, repeating Om Namah Shivaya and visualizing the deity in your heart. The God you finally realize as not body, not mind, pure consciousness. What did Shankaracharya sing? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham Shivoham. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. That God shines as all these sentient beings. First, be absolutely clear. This is not Karma Yoga. This is Advaita Vedanta, Jnana Yoga. Through Jnana Yoga, through Advaita Vedanta, be absolutely clear that every sentient being you're coming across is the divinity you are seeking. One. Then second, he says, Swami Premeshanji writes, to this Jiva, who is Shiva, unceasing worship in the form of service will lead to love. A great love for God will arise in your heart through the service of the sentient beings. You will get bhakti. And with utter focus, dedicate long hours of service, lifelong, you will find you get the full result of meditation, jnana, of dhyana, of samadhi. This is Karma Yoga. There is knowledge there, there is devotion there, there is meditation there. One monk who I did not have the privilege of seeing, he was in our hospital in Banaras, Shivashram. And all he would do was, he is known as Bon Baba, Bon Bihari Baba. I've heard about him from many senior monks. All he would do would be to dress the wounds, do the dressings, apply the dressings, remove the old dressings, clean it up, and then put the new dressings all day long. Of patients, inpatients, outpatients, all of that. He would go to the wards, and there would be outpatients coming to him. And he became such a saintly man that people would come in his old age, when he was sick and hardly able to move, sitting on the wheelchair, he would go on doing dressing because people won't leave him alone. Because they had this deep faith, if he touches you once, the patient will be cured. And they were, miraculously in some cases. And it seemed to be like you're in the presence of some divinity in his presence. Monks would go from other monasteries, not for dressings, to see him, what a sadhu should be like. And he would say to other monks, these youngsters who complain about, the new monks, who complain about there's too much work, or I can't overcome lust, I can't overcome anger, I can't overcome restlessness, my mind is restless in meditation. All these problems, restlessness of mind, unhappiness, irritation, lust, anger. He says, I don't know what they're talking about. When I came as a monk, there was so much work here. I had no time to think. I started working in the morning and I would collapse from being tired at night. And see, 50 years have passed. I never had any problem at all. What are they talking about? This is the power of the Karma Yoga. Swami Vivekananda says, he's walking with Swami Turiyananda and he says, Hari Bhai, my brother Hari, now in this age, I have set out a new path. Just as in old times, people would realize God through meditation and knowledge and devotion, jnana, bhakti, dhyana. In ages to come, young men and women, he specifically mentions women, young men and women will work out their salvation through this teaching of service to the jiva, is worship of Shiva. One more question.
So this is from Surashan Lutal. I'm a physics PhD from the Illinois Institute of Technology. I recently spent a few days studying the Mandukya Upanishad, and I was deeply struck by its method of reasoning by elimination. I found it extraordinarily powerful, and it seems to me that it isolates with great clarity what the self is not. In many ways, I feel it raises deeper questions about consciousness than most modern theories do. At the same time, I am not persuaded that the text establishes the metaphysical conclusion of one eternal, undivided Atman in the way Advaita takes it to. My present view is that the sages who gave us these teachings very likely underwent profound and transformative experiences for which ordinary language was inadequate, and this may explain the strongly apopactic and analogical style of the text. However, I am not convinced that even such realization necessarily justifies the conclusion of a universal, non-local consciousness. Part of my hesitation comes from a broadly Popperian outlook. I tend to think that all observation, including inner or non-dual experience, is theory-laden. The ancient sages did not have access to modern neuroscience, psychology, or theories of mind, and so it seems possible to me that they interpreted genuine but extraordinary experiences through the highest metaphysical vocabulary available to them. In that sense, I do not doubt the profundity of the experience, but I remain unsure whether the Advaitic interpretation is logically compelled by it. There's more. If an experience is overwhelmingly ineffable and transformative, how do we know that its felt ultimacy is not being overinterpreted metaphysically? But differently, why should one conclude from such an experience that there is one eternal Atman, rather than one has encountered a powerful but still local feature of consciousness? I ask this with respect and openness because I found the Mandukya intellectually and spiritually profound, even where I remain unconvinced by its final conclusion.
That's a good question. I remember meeting this neuroscientist on a flight. This lady, she was sitting next to me, and she said, okay, tell me about your religion, because I was dressed like this. So I talked about Advaita Vedanta, and for about a 1.5 hour long flight, most of it I spoke. And at the end of that, she was very smart. She said, I see no fault in your arguments, but I'm not convinced. I said, that's good enough. That's all right. So we have a Popperian here. He's referring to Karl Popper, who is probably the most well-known philosopher of science in the 20th century. I think he was originally Australian, but of course he spent most of his time in Europe at Oxford, Cambridge, and he is known for at least two things. One, the falsifiability theory, understanding of science. Scientific hypotheses should be falsifiable. There should be a test of falsifiability. Then only it should be counted as a proper scientific hypothesis. Also for his advocacy of democracy. There's a book, I think, I have not read it, but I just heard about it. Open Society and Its Enemies. That's Karl Popper. But what he means here is that all, as he put it, all observation is theory-laden. It's you can give a metaphysical spin to your experiences, to your observations, but that does not mean that that metaphysical part of it. I'm not doubting the profundity of the experience, he says. But to say that this consciousness which you have experienced is the one reality of the universe, it's a universal, non-local, as he puts it, that does not follow logically, he says. It may be, as he says, the sages had extraordinary, profound experiences, and that's the interpretation they gave. It's like a modern neuroscientist would say, I am sure you felt one with the universe. That does not mean you are one with the universe. You felt it. In technical language, the phenomenological and the ontological they don't map. So what is internally experienced, you cannot jump from there to make an ontological claim, a claim about how things are. So this is the crux of it. And before I go into the answer, I'll just give a basic outline because it's a big question. I'll give an outline of an answer. Advaita Vedanta has a powerful answer. I mean, in many ways, one could say many things about it. But before that, an interesting anecdote. I've often mentioned the philosopher, my favorite, the two giants in 20th century philosophy. Popper is one, but Wittgenstein is another one. So there is a book which I read many years ago, Wittgenstein's Poker. So this group of philosophers, Wittgenstein and some others, including Bertrand Russell, they would meet once in a month or so in Cambridge University. And they would discuss cutting-edge problems in analytic philosophy there. So this book, Wittgenstein's Poker, it details this incident which happened, where Wittgenstein met with Popper and had a fight. So that's why it's called Wittgenstein's Poker. Now in the meeting, what happened was, at that time, Popper was visiting from Australia. Wittgenstein was already established as a giant in philosophy, and the discussion was going on. And Wittgenstein, there's a description. Bertrand Russell was present in the room. The authors, they looked at the minutes of the meeting. They found there were about 30 people present in that room, and they were able to trace 9 of them still living. So they went for eyewitness, exactly minute to minute. What do they recall? What happened? They reconstruct the scene. So Bertrand Russell was present there. There was a fire lit, and Popper, he was a visiting philosopher from Australia, and they recall that he was a man of small stature, but he had extraordinarily large ears. That they recall. So, and Popper spoke with very precise, long, complete sentences. It's almost like you could it's like reading out a paper, but he was speaking freely. And Wittgenstein, they recall, he spoke in a rapid and a staccato voice and tortured, like every word is being pulled out, like a tooth being pulled out. And once in a while, he would slam his hands into his head and he would dramatically say that, why am I so stupid today? Help me, please. Can somebody help me? Like that. And this is typical of him. And then when he would talk, he would stride back and forth and he had pulled out the poker from the fire, and he would swing it around like a and point it at people. So what was the debate about? What's the anecdote about? The debate was a crucial debate in philosophy at that time. Wittgenstein's idea was that there are no metaphysical problems. They're all confusions created by language. So, whereas Popper said, no, there are real metaphysical problems. So at one point, Wittgenstein got furious and he said to Popper, pointing the poker at him, give me an example of a moral proposition. And Popper said, thou shalt not threaten visiting lecturers with pokers. That's a moral proposition. And Wittgenstein got so furious, he threw the poker into the fireplace and stormed out and slamming the door behind him. And that was the whole episode. And they've written a whole book about it, Wittgenstein's poker, going into the different philosophies and the impact on 20th century philosophy, 20th century thought, and 21st century thought and all that. All right, back to Popper and the question here. So how do you respond to that? Yes, you have some extraordinary experience. But why does that mean that that one consciousness is the reality, the whole universe is an appearance in that consciousness? Not necessarily. What would be the response from an Advaitic perspective? The response is this. First and foremost, Advaita actually does not depend on these experiences. Yes, did the rishis have powerful transformative experiences? Yes. Are those experiences real and possible? Yes. Sri Ramakrishna had numerous, he is a super mystic, numerous experiences, and they are transformative. They are very deep. They are far richer than our ordinary day-to-day quotidian experiences. However, the power and beauty of Advaita Vedanta comes from not calling upon the experiences as authority. I experienced one consciousness which is appearing as the universe. You say, but no buts. I have experienced it. That's not Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta says, I want to show you what you are experiencing right now is this one consciousness appearing as the universe. Advaita Vedanta at no point refers to mystical experiences. What does Advaita Vedanta refer to? The method is a very philosophical method. It refers to Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Shruti, the Upanishads. Advaita at its heart is an interpretation of the Upanishads. Immediately one might say, why should I believe the Upanishad? You don't have to believe it. Just see what the texts are telling you. The Mandukya Upanishad. Second, reasoning. Reasoning that the Advaitin and you will share. The reasoning will not be complete until we agree. We come to an agreement. And third, Anubhuti, experience. But what experience? Not an experience of one consciousness as the universe, some kind of extraordinary mystical experience. No. So the experience of one consciousness as the universe, Advaita has the utspa to claim that you are having that experience right now. Let me show you. It's not a special experience which will come after some special practices. It's an interpretation of this present experience. Now suppose, as he says, why should I accept it? You don't have to. You tell us why you don't accept it. Where does it stop? Where are you tripping up on this? Give us reasons. Give us your reasons, your experiences, which go against this. You won't be able to. At the final end of it all, you will be left with, I find no fault in the argument, but I don't believe it. That's all right. There the answer is no longer argument. There the answer is sadhana. It's the mind is not clear enough to grasp it. The mind has strong likes and dislikes, and it wants certain things to be the way it wants it to be in the world. It's when the mind steps back from the world equally, everything is an appearance without pulls and pushes, which is hooking me. Then one begins to see, one will clearly see there's one radiance and everything is appearing in that radiance. And you are that radiance. Okay, we'll leave it at that. The last question from this gentleman, yes.
Namaste, Swamiji. My question is about, you talked about Ananda. From the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, we use harmonics to extract the Anantam aspects from Satyam and we come up with Sat. Same thing from Jnanam, we come up with Chit. question is, where is Ananda in Satyananda, right? But also Ananda can be interpreted as Purnatvam, right? Which is nothing but lack of lack, or completeness, or infinite by itself, Anantam.
That I've never heard it earlier, but with your permission, I will take it. Use it later on.
The sense of again, so Purnatvam is same as Anantatvam. So it is already, the concept of Anantatvam is already baked into Sat and Chit. Why do you need Ananda to add on to it? Is it more of a pedagogical tool to sort of get the likes of me to attract myself to? So
Ananda means bliss. You have limitless existence consciousness. Into limitlessness, as you said, it's baked. Fullness, completeness, the lack of lack. Not just a lack of lack, a positive fullness. Is the absence of an absence a presence or a new kind of absence? These are the questions which exercise the ancient Indian logicians, Nayayikas. Yeah. Not only things which exist, what about things which don't exist? And they spend centuries discussing things which don't exist. And if things don't exist, this not existing, how many kinds of not existing are there? Nothing. How many kinds of nothing are there? They found 4 kinds of nothing. And then the big question they debated over, fought over, is if nothing is nothing, is that something or a new nothing? Abhava. So here, lack of lack is a positive thing. It's not just I have no problems at all. No, I have not only no problems, but I have positive fulfillment. Now, the question is, why add Ananda to it? For example, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is infinite existence consciousness. You might ask, where is the Ananda, the bliss there? It talks about existence and consciousness, but not the bliss there. But that limitlessness itself is bliss. In another place in Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham, nalpe sukham asti. That which is the vast is happiness. There's no happiness in the limited. You'll always overflow. It will never be enough. It's very interesting. However much we get, is it enough? Are you completely fulfilled now? Forever fulfilled. Temporarily one might feel fulfilled, but forever. Even in the moment of temporary fulfillment, after some time I will not be fulfilled anymore. So we always overflow. Anything limited, we overflow. Is there anything unlimited? And materialists will say, well, that's the best we can do. There's no such thing as an unlimited. But the example of the spiritual masters and across all religions, different ways, it shows that lasting fulfillment is possible. Now, that's the point of it. If it is not there, where is the point of anything at all? There is one weakness which remains in philosophy then, if you don't bring in Ananda. It's that question which somebody asked, what's the point? If you leave it as limitless existence consciousness, you might say, that's enough for me. I am limitless existence and consciousness. That's enough. I'm full. But others might not say so. They might say that it seems kind of pointless to me. What's the point of existence? What's the point of consciousness even? If there is no purpose, point, fulfillment, value to it at all. And Vedanta says there is. This Brahman is not only the locus of all existence, of reality, it's not only the locus of all consciousness, experience, it's also the locus of all value, purpose, beauty, joy, bliss. So, Brahman is Sat, Chit, Ananda. I put it in another way sometimes, that in philosophy we ask these 3 questions, the 3 big questions. The ontology, what is real? Metaphysics or ontology? And Vedanta says Sat is real. The second big question in philosophy is epistemology. How do we experience anything? How do we have any knowledge at all? Answer in Vedanta is Chit, because of consciousness. And what is the point of it all? That's also a big part of philosophy. Art, aesthetics, ethics, right and wrong. All of that together is called axiology, the science of value, study of values. Vedanta's answer to that is Ananda. There is the point to all of it. It is Ananda, it is fulfillment. The answer to the person who asked the question, what's the use of all? There is great use to it. Only the thing is that the use, the value, the purpose is not outside. In fact, even seeking outside yourself, sabotaging yourself. You are telling yourself, answer does not lie in myself. So, the answers to these 3, answers to the ontological question, Sat. The epistemological question, Chit. The axiological question, Ananda. And all 3 are one, Brahman. Not only that Brahman is you. So these are the tremendous claims of Vedanta, and Vedanta says we can demonstrate it to you. You don't have to take it on faith. If you take it on faith, good, that's bhakti. You don't have to wait for an extraordinary experience like he thought. The sages will have extraordinary experience and realize I am Brahman. That also works. If you do that, that's yoga. But Advaita it's already a fact. It's already a fact that the demon and the elephant and the human being and the god, all those statues, they're all gold. It's already a fact. You don't have to melt them into a featureless lump and then see, oh, it's gold. No. Let them remain as it. Let life remain as it is, with all the good and the bad. With all the efforts and whatever success and failure is going on, you realize what it is truly. And you realize it is Satchidananda now. Not as a claim, as an utterly obvious self-shining, self-revealing truth. And this self-revealing, self-shining truth is yourself. It's not outside you. It is you. You are it, and it is you. You are it means you are not body-mind. You are not this limited person. You are it. You are that. And that is you means other than you, there is no God, Brahma, Vishnu, Allah, whatever it is, other than the real you. It is that one thing. And on that grand conclusion, let us conclude here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.